I called Sarah and I was like, what if we rented an RV and just like took the film around the country and distributed it ourselves? And to her,
I said yes, we should put fangs on it.
I had fun with the movie.
It was really wholesome and warming.
As a forever alt girl, I really identified with this main character.
The movie was awesome.
Get down there, see the movie. It's great.
Through creativity, we are going to change the world. It's getting better all the time.
I thought the film was absolutely spectacular.
This is the award that is for the best feature film, Bite Me. Thank you so much.
I can't believe that she has to do the amazing acting she did, and then on top of that, all the other jobs that she does. There's not a lot of actors who can pull that off.
It's a really, really important movie about tolerance, and I love it.
You're going to teach people and you're going to help people.
I think it showed a really good message in having such strong female roles, and I had a lot of good realizations about what we need to look at in today's world.
We are all super inspired by Bite Me and the distribution model that you guys are doing in terms of just really taking things on the road and bringing your film to people directly.
Peace be with you.
and also with you.
Definitely go see it.
I thought it was a very nice transition from the normal vampire movies that you see in Hollywood. It was something different and something that was made very well.
I need to start dating again.
I really liked the representation.
It's such a beautiful, simple little story that was told so elegantly. I just loved it.
We would highly recommend it, so we'll recommend it to our friends.
I think this kind of community-based event is something that helps create interest in a different way.
And that was fantastic. And especially the way it's paced, the way it's shot.
Very funny, and also I'm a sucker for a nice romance movie.
Strong feeling that we will play that film in theaters for people many more times. For the final episode, we have my top 10 triumphs and takeaways from the tour. This one is shocking. My hypothesis at the beginning of the tour was that you could maybe salvage the in-person viewing experience as long as you relied primarily on digital viewing for numbers. And we have found the reverse to be true. It is harder to get people to leave their houses than it used to be. But when you do, they are so happy to be there, and you can give them transcendent experiences with pretty basic human interaction and art. This one was also incredibly surprising. We assumed that we would do best in big markets like New York, Los Angeles. Everyone was like, you're gonna kill it in New Orleans. This is exactly New Orleans film. And in many cases, those weren't our strongest showings, particularly New Orleans, because New Orleans already has what we're selling. It was the places that don't have what we're selling that we succeeded the most, like Vicksburg, like Arcata, California, like Gainesville, Florida. Also cities like Wichita. Wichita does not have an independent theater, which is crazy. If I were to do this tour again, I would focus way more on smaller places and less obvious places, and maybe not even go to some of the bigger cities. When Sarah and I set out to schedule this tour, we set ourselves the goal that we would only book venues that would do revenue shares with us. For the most part, we succeeded in that, but there were a couple of times in a couple of cities where we could not make that happen, and we caved and we were like, well, because it's a big city, this will probably be fine, and we rented. And not only did that not prove to be true for reasons stated in number 2, but the theater was then disincentivized to help us advertise the screening. So those screenings became the biggest lift, and marketing-wise, and then we would market our patooties off to fill the theater and make sure we made back that minimum rental fee. And then at the end of the night, we would hand it all over to them, and it was crushing. I think the only time it makes sense to pay a rental fee is in your hometowns or like where your crew is from. So New York and Aspen, I would 100% do rental fees again. I would never do it in any other place, even if that meant that we couldn't screen in a movie theater. Some of the alternative venue spaces were the best. They were even better than the theaters. So just find places that will do revenue shares with you. Do not pay rental fees unless you are absolutely sure that you can fill the theater and make more money under that construct. The most important thing in the venue search is finding places that are community hubs, that are places that people will go to see an event specifically because that venue says it's good, and also venues that align thematically or subject matter-wise with your movie. Our trailer was the number one reason that venues agreed to book us. It's the thing that people will watch online to decide whether or not to come to your movie. Put the money into the trailer, get a great trailer. Also, then hound the venues, particularly the movie theaters, to play the trailer ahead of your arrival before other screenings. There were a couple of venues that we got there and ticket sales were really low, and they're like, well, we didn't know how to advertise the movie. And I was like, oh, did you play the trailer I sent you? And they're like, no. I was like, well, that would have been a great place to start. Every time you arrive at a screening venue, have your film in at least 5 different formats. If you have a DCP, great. Have it as a Blu-ray, have it as a DVD, have it on a flash drive formatted for both Mac and PC, have it on at least 2 different laptops with different outputs, also have it uploaded somewhere into the cloud so that someone could download it. I cannot tell you the number of times where either when we arrived at the venue or in the middle of the screening, we had to switch formats in order to either get the film to play or keep the film playing, and if we had not had it in multiple formats, the evening would not have finished. Also, on that note, always ask for a sound check. Never, ever take their word. When you get there, they say, no, we did it. Say, that's great. I'm really annoying. Could we just do a sound check? Because also, I can't tell you the number of times that then we did that and then the film didn't play. And thank God we caught it before the audience got there. Almost every screening, somebody came up to me and said, God, this film was so good. It's almost like it wasn't even an independent film. Which, number one, we as a community need to look deep into our souls about why people feel that way. And secondly, I don't think it helps you to advertise yourself as an independent film. I suspect we would have done even better in terms of ticket sales if we had just not said it was an independent film. What I have learned on this tour is that when people in the middle of the country hear independent film, they think boring, slow, depressing. And they don't want to leave their houses for that. It is incredibly important to have local advocates in every place, whether that's a local host or a venue that's really going to help you advertise and market, because the marketing in every community is just so different. How people learn about events is different. What will make them leave their houses is different. It is so hyper local and specific, and the only people that will have that information is people who actually live there. We need to think creatively about what it is that people will pay for. So I had an interesting thought the other day, which is that we ran a crowdfunding campaign for this film, and we raised $35,000 without leaving our house and without really giving people an actual product. The tour will make slightly less than that, which on the one hand makes me want to jump out of a window. On the other hand, it's really interesting to think about the fact that people want to support the arts, and that in some ways they are more willing to pay for a film that doesn't exist yet than a film that does. So in the model, I think we have to think about that. Also, merchandise. People will pay for merchandise. You must have merchandise. No touring model is viable without merchandise. Liberate yourselves from the system. I am not kidding. I feel free. That is what I feel at the end of this tour. The festival to distributor pipeline is freaking insane. It is trying to win the lottery twice as a business plan. It's ridiculous. I would like to remind you again at this juncture that we made more in the first week of ticket sales alone on this tour than I made from my entire first feature that got a traditional distribution deal. That is cuckoo bananas. But here's the really cool thing about that, is that once you know that their game is broken and rigged, you can just walk away from it. It doesn't matter anymore. Stop worrying about the middlemen. Start worrying about the end consumer. Who is watching your movie? Go find them, go bring your movie to them, and you will remember why we're actually doing any of this. We didn't crack the model. We have not cracked the revenue model on this tour, but we have opened the door. And now it is your turn to walk through it and please, with as much transparency as we have, start trying everything. If we could all collectively start experimenting with this, we would find the model. I have absolutely no doubt. I think we could start kind of an Oregon Trail of filmmakers, of independent filmmakers going around the country doing this. We could share venues. Those venues would get the hang of how these things work, and we could just begin a pipeline. What I can see is a future ecosystem where you have filmmakers, venue owners, and audiences in direct community and conversation all over the country. And thinking about what that would mean for art, but also for healing the country, would be incredibly exciting. The last 3 months have been some of the most intense of my life. Obviously, there have been incredible ups and downs, but I will say that at this moment, I feel more inspired, fulfilled, and connected as an artist than I have ever in my adult life. I feel connected to my audience, I feel connected to my work, and I have remembered why any of this matters. And I mean, I would wish this experience for any filmmaker, any artist. It has been the greatest gift, and grateful doesn't even begin to cover it. This has been so extraordinary, and I would do it again in a freaking heartbeat.
The movie was about empathy, and each person watching the movie will think, where do I need to have more empathy in my life? Is it the vampires I know? Is it the people of color I know? Is it the people who are wrong politically that I know? Is it the people in my family who've hurt me, or I don't know how to reach out to them? Where can I find empathy, and where can I find understanding for who they really are?
Once in a while and a couple times a lifetime, you'll find a movie that really speaks to you, and for me, this was definitely one of those movies. It was sweet, it was fun, and it was very real.
I loved it. that I'm 85 and the humor has changed since I was young, but I just loved it.
The time is always right to open up your eyes and be the flickering flame. We can light the corners, shine through.
This is the home of John Hayes Hammond Jr. He built the castle between 1926 and 29 and brought numerous artifacts from Europe here to be placed into the castle as it was constructed. One of actually Hammond's favorite collected pieces is a skull from one of the crew members of Christopher Columbus's voyage. It's still on display here at the castle. He was a great scientist. He's about the 5th largest patent holder in the United States. He has over 642 patents. So there's just something for everyone. Just the beauty of it and being in a building that was built with love and care.
Finish this sentence. Okay. It would make me joyful if people knew and celebrated about me that...
Daly and I have been spending the last several years of our lives dedicated to...
Daly's your wife?
Daly's my wife, yes. Dedicated to the pursuit of growing the vampire community and making it something that is more than just ancillary. We wanted to really connect our community to the city itself and to everyone else. I never feel a reason that we should be disconnected, that we should be ancillary, that we should be hidden. I wanted to be very transparent with that, and in doing so, that we've been trying very hard to connect that community together across the US and to see a day when they can connect to their local communities and their cities and can be as openly and easily accepted as we are in ours.
Fantastic. That's an excellent pursuit. Thank you so very, very much for joining me here at the Lair Voltaire. You're a great friend and I care about you tremendously. It's not every day I get to interview a vampire at the Lair Voltaire. And I will thank you for not biting me, because if you had turned me into a vampire, then... I set that one out for you. I let him have that one. Thanks again for coming. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
Anytime.
Be well.
Narok.
Is this blood?